Hi. Mr. President.
पाकिस्तान शहस्तानिस्तान और हमने इधर आज वो साम्राज्य को जो पाकिस्तान किस बुनियाद पर बनाया उसकी बिना सारा मुकाबला ये जो दहशतगर्दी है इसके पीछे वर्दी है। ये जो दहशतगर्दी है इसके पीछे वर्दी है। बाजवा बाजवा दहशतगर्द बाजवा 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 अपूरा 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 हम लेके रहेंगे आजादी, हम छीनेंगे आजादी।
Muna tayo, mga kasama. Isang magandang umaga. Pagpalaya. Ang chance natin ay unan. Never again, never again, never again to martial law. Never again, never again, never again to martial law. Never again, never again, never again to martial law. Tapos po, martial law sa Mindanao. Tululan, labanan, huwag payagan. Martial law sa Mindanao. Tululan, labanan, huwag payagan. I-post po yan sa yung video. Mass action of ours here in Geneva will be broadcasted in the Philippines, sent to media outlets. This coincides with the United People's Action, the mammoth rally that will take place in Luneta with 50,000 people protesting the NASA dictatorship as well as the near demise of democracy and the massive human rights violations taking place in the Philippines.
Hindi yan totoo. Siyame.
Hindi po totoo? 27.
When was the first
Madali lang po, tatawag lang po kami ng pulis. Opo, disturb our classic policy of Duterte! The social classic policy of Duterte, which has resulted in the lives, in the deaths of 27,000 impoverished, beaten down Filipinos, is nothing more than a sham war. He has no intentions whatsoever to resolve the drug issue in the Philippines. He is using this war of drugs to consolidate and advance an authoritarian agenda. This is a dictatorship tool. For the past 2 years, President Duterte has been building the state apparatus and machinery to establish authoritarian rule. He has been attacking all and any forms of dissent and legitimate opposition, engaged in political persecution of his staunchest critics, has forcibly removed our Supreme Court Chief Justice so that he can co-opt the Philippine judiciary. He has created supermajorities in the Philippine legislature so that he could forcibly enact authoritarian laws that would establish one-man rule. And now, apart from the human rights crisis brought about by the war on drugs, what is also surfacing are the massive human rights violations in the context of martial law in the southern part of the Philippines. That includes violations of international humanitarian law, extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, torture, and rape as a tool of war. What we are now facing is much bigger than just the human rights crisis that has been going on for the past 2 years. We're facing much more than the breakdown of the rule of law, the utter disregard for due process. State security forces, the police being encouraged, shielded from litigation. Much more than the death squad epidemic that this violent president has brought to the national level. We are now facing massive dictatorship and the total breakdown of democracy in the Philippines. President Duterte has also been whitewashing the atrocities of the Marcos family, rehabilitating them both in name and politics. And so, dear friends, everybody who's here in solidarity to the defense of human rights and countering dictatorship in the Philippines. We ask that we all help surface the truth. We are all here as truth tellers beside the United Nations. So here together in solidarity with all pro-democratic and human rights defense forces in the Philippines, we stand here on the 43rd commemoration of the declaration of martial law by the late dictator, President Marcos. We stand here in solidarity with everyone in the Philippines fighting the Duterte dictatorship. So here together we shout, never again, never again, never again to martial law, never again, never again, never again to martial law. Now I'd like to call on the Secretary General of the Asian Federation Against Disappearances, also proudly a member of the largest human rights coalition in the Philippines, in defense of human rights and dignity movement, and of course, co-sponsoring this mass action is the Geneva Forum for Philippine Concerns, and of course, our friends here from Filipino community here in Geneva. So, Ma'am Eileen, may I call you up front to say something?
Thank you very much. I'm Eileen Pangalco from the Asian Federation for It's a regional federation of human rights organizations working directly on enforced disappearances. It has 15 member organizations in different Asian countries, in Bangladesh, Indonesia, Nepal, Pakistan, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Timor-Leste. The families of victims of involuntary disappearance defined is the main founder of the Asian Commission Against Involuntary Disappearances, and AFAD is based in Manila in the Philippines. We are together formed as a federation because of the regional phenomenon of enforced disappearances, of which the Philippines is a victim, has been a victim since 1971. The first case of enforced disappearance is the case of the disappearance of Charlie Del Rosario, a university professor, which remains disappeared until now. There has been almost 2,000, more than 2,000 cases of enforced disappearances from the 1990s up to the present situation of President One life is worth enough. One case is worth enough. It is difficult to document thousands of cases of enforced disappearances because of the atmosphere of fear in different communities wherein people are threatened, their lives are at risk. But we believe that there have been thousands of victims of involuntary disappearances in the context of the war on drugs. On this anniversary of martial law, we would like to register our definite protest against the authoritarian dictatorship of the regime of President Duterte. We are protesting against the several killings and enforced disappearances happening in the country. And we want to say never again to enforce disappearances. Maraming salamat po.
So, all friends, remember tomorrow, 11 o'clock here.
이거 많이 외워요?
Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban!
Ang tao!
Ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban!
Le peuple uni! Jamais ne sera vaincu!
Jamais ne sera vaincu.
Le peuple uni! Jamais ne sera vaincu! Ang tao! Ang bayan!
Ngayon ay lumalaban!
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido!
The people united will never be defeated. Muy bien. We have our brother, adopted Filipino from Western Sahara.
Le peuple uni! Jamais ne sera vaincu!
Le peuple
Uni! Jamais ne sera vaincu!
El pueblo
Unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
the people
United will never be defeated.
the people united will never be defeated.
Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban.
Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban.
Where is that agent of Duterte?
Yes, and now next up on our program here of resistance and defense of human rights, I'd like to call on Ms. Annie Yuson of the UP University of the Philippines Alumni Association here in Geneva. Ms. Annie, please come forward.
he's one of the vocal critics of President Duterte. And then prior to that, also as a Chief Justice, Sereno, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, she was also removed so that it would be easier for the justices to try to defend Duterte to approve laws that will favor the President. So one by one, those who are defending the human rights are now being singled out. And this is really this is spreading the atmosphere people to protest what's happening because you might be next. So here in Geneva, we are expressing solidarity with our neighbors, the Philippines, who are trying to bring out the international community what's been happening. Last year in Geneva, in the international community, we should voice out our protests of what's happening. They are here, our colleagues are here to bring out in the open the international community that what's happening in the Philippines has to stop. The human rights violation has to stop. And being part of the University of the Philippines Student Association, one of the activist universities in the Philippines, we are one with you in defending the human rights. And we in Geneva are monitoring what's happening, and you can count on us to support whatever movement of defense of human rights happening in our country.
Thank you so much, Ms. Annie. It's clear that back in the Philippines, there is already no hope for an impartial investigation. It's clear that our Supreme Court has been completely co-opted and is completely subservient to this violent president. And thus, all hope now, we have no other recourse but to seek accountability elsewhere. And one is, of course, the UN Human Rights Council. And so we are actually now pushing the member states of the Human Rights Council to put forward a resolution that instructs the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to establish an impartial, independent international investigation into the human rights crisis in the Philippines. It's clear that this president put in place a permission structure for mass murder, has encouraged the police, has predisposed the police to become more violent, and is continuing to shield the police and the death squads from litigation. And now, to give us a message of solidarity, I would like to call on Mr. Omar Abdeslam Lassen of the Asian Federation Against Disappearances, and his solidarity message will be translated by Ms. Eileen Bacalzo. Sir?
Anyway, I'm on.
Wanted to complain. Violations of our rights, the basic rights for truth, for justice, and for reparation.
Hoy nos solidarizamos especialmente con nuestras hermanas y nuestros hermanos de Filipinas.
Now we are in solidarity, especially with our brothers and sisters in the Philippines,
Sigue negando el simple derecho de saber dónde están sus hijos.
where the right not to be disappeared, but the right to know where are the disappeared people have been violated.
Vamos a continuar la lucha hasta que sepamos toda la verdad.
Let us continue the struggle until we know the truth.
Sepan que todos están solos estamos unidos en este combate para erradicar completamente las desapariciones.
Please know that you are not alone in the struggle against enforced disappearances in order to eradicate this crime of enforced disappearance.
El mundo debe unirse contra la tortura y los malos tratos, y la desaparición es mucho más grave que eso.
The world has to be against against torture, against killings, against maltreatment, but especially against enforced disappearance, which is even more cruel than the other forms of violations.
Deben dejarnos poner fin a nuestro duelo, enterrar nuestros seres queridos.
We have to know
Debemos lucharlo hasta el final.
we have to continue the struggle until the end.
¡Al pueblo unido jamás será vencido!
El pueblo
¡Unido jamás será vencido!
Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban! Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban!
¡El pueblo unido jamás será vencido! The people united
Will never be defeated!
Le peuple uni jamais ne sera vaincu!
It's clear that this president also waged not just a sham war on drugs, but also a war on the poor, a war on human rights, and the war on the rule of law. It's important to note that this human rights calamity in the Philippines is not just about extrajudicial killings, but also about massive enforced disappearances and torture, in spite of the Philippines having anti-torture and anti-enforced disappearances laws, which are faithful to the two conventions against torture and against enforced disappearances. So this institutionalized impunity allows enforced disappearances and torture to massively occur. We have now many cases where drug suspects, human rights defenders, social activists disappear and are later found dead, having had signs of being heavily tortured. Now we are here also together with the representative of the oldest human rights organization in the Philippines, which has played a major role in documenting the massive human rights violations during the Marcos dictatorship. The Task Force of Detainees of the Philippines has been instrumental in surfacing the Marcos atrocities. Now I would proudly now like to introduce to you and give the floor to Father Toots Buenafe, is the chairperson of the Task Force Detainees of the Philippines. Father Toots.
Magandang tanghali po sa lahat. Ako ay si Father Toots Buenafe, isang Carmelite pare, at I'm the chair of the Task Force Detainees of the Philippines. I was here last year and there were 13,000 deaths. Now, after a year, we have 27,000 deaths. I pray that next year it will increase. But this is a senseless war. You know, we have been documenting cases of people being abducted and they disappear, they are tortured. After a couple of days, they are found dead. So, the major superiors in the Philippines, the Association of Major Religious Superiors in the Philippines, this is an organization of religious men and women, around 400 plus of us, made a strong statement that extrajudicial killing has no place in a civilized society, in a civilized world. And that's why we don't know what to do now. We have been releasing statements about this war on drugs and human rights violations. church people, and we speak about forgiveness, reconciliation, but above all, the mercy of God must be grounded on justice. Because first and foremost, God is just. And above all, it's life. It's the right to life. It's the highest rights of all rights. Right of all rights. So it's a pity that this government, this President Duterte, is Anipores with his words, hates otherwise. The concept of life. He undermines United Nations mandate and mechanism. He insults people. He doesn't believe in human rights. So what can be done? What can we do? So we strongly oppose this government's policy on the war on drugs, and we call for the stop once and for all of extrajudicial killings. And then in all avenues, in churches, in pulpits, we are doing our part of duties. And I hope people who will here at the Human Rights Council, we begin our law. That there should be an independent fighting mission or whatever body it may be, investigate and there is really real massive killings, systematic killings of helpless people, especially the poor. You know, we have 3 priests who were killed. And dapat magalit na kami, di ba? Hindi ba namin na may ma-rape na may ma-deport na madre, may barilin na bishop. But, you know, there was this public outcry. 3 priests were already killed. But how about the poor? The poorest of the poor. Helpless young people. Ordinary people. Workers, cousins, human rights defenders. So it's really a pity. So I hope our campaigns will continue. But we have to tell the world that the Philippines is not fun after all. It's not funny. It's not fun. But first, you go there because are funny. Who has the Arabic passport? We joined the Philippine Alliance of Human Rights Advocates. I defend AFAD, FINE, Geneva Forum for all people, Filipino people who love life. And of course our international friends, ones from all over Asia, also have letters suffering the same. So solidarity is very important. Magmahal po tayong lahat.
Thank you so much, Father Christian Buenafe. Of course, there are now over 26,000 impoverished, beaten down individuals killed in this sham war on drugs. And if nothing is done to stop the mass killings, this human rights crisis, human rights calamity, by the end of President Duterte's term in 2022, and he has vowed that this war on drugs will be as relentless and chilling, there will be over at least 70,000 Filipinos perishing because of this social cleansing, kill society's undesired policy. Now, this 26,000 are just the documented ones. There is huge underreporting in the Philippines because of fear for reprisal by many families of victims of extrajudicial killings. Now, this president for the past 2 years does not have a social agenda that will uplift the lives of the poor. In fact, a law, the tax reform and acceleration and inclusion law, has seen the spike of the most basic commodities. And that's many Filipinos thinking over their opinion about Duterte. And of course, the inflation rate has been at an all-time high. Now, To deliver a solidarity message, I'd like to call on a comrade, fellow human rights defender from the Asian Legal Resource Center, Mr. Mohammed Ashraf Buzaman, and male representative to the United Nations of the Asian Legal Resource Center, Mr. Mohammed.
My dear friends, we have taken this trouble of coming to this place to express the solidarity for this cause. I share your feeling and the pains that many of us might have lost our dear friends, activists, our comrades in this unexpected and unacceptable so-called fight of the war on drugs that is going on in Philippines. And on behalf of the human rights activists of the organization I work and also the victims and the people with whom I work, my colleagues work, I express solidarity to all of you. And there is one more thing that you may not know, that the same kind of war on drugs is being replicated in my country, Bangladesh. So already the government of Bangladesh has adopted the war on drug killings from mid-May this year. So far, there has been nearly 300 people killed in just a few months' time in this war on drugs. So, likewise, as Duterte started it years ago, since his assumption as president, your number has been nearly 27,000 now. I don't see this killing as number. This 27,000 is not a statistic. It is life. 27,000 lives have been eliminated unjustly and in the crime against humanity. These 27,000 people's family have been destroyed forever. Maybe they will not recover from the grief, from the financial hardships and the social problem, psychological problem in the rest of their life. So this is a massive disaster. Even a natural calamity cannot cause this kind of disaster. What this man-made disaster has caused to the life and the society of our people. So our solidarity to all those people, to these 27,000 families and the next generation of those families, that I hope and we should try our best to help those families so that they can recover and they can fight back and we can eliminate the dictator from his office, and then we can help the victims and the families for the future to go on in their normal life. So I thank you very much once again, and let's fight together to fight out these dictators beyond our jurisdiction, the national boundary, because humanity is the most important, not the nationality, and also not the, all kinds of tyranny that we have been facing. So let's fight it out together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now the United Nations, our struggle now is to make stopping the human rights crisis and national dictatorship in the Philippines a UN priority. The United Nations Human Rights Council has a protection, prevention mandate and an early warning system. We are calling on the new High Commissioner to actually reactivate this early warning system, which is very much needed quite in the Philippines. This has become a concern because the war on drugs in the Philippines has been inspiring would-be despots elsewhere. In Bangladesh, the Indonesia. Despots who want to make human life cheap in their country as well. Now, as we conclude our protest, I'd like to call on Ms. Evelyn, also from the Geneva Forum for Philippines. Yeah, so she'll be taking over the program and saying a few words as well.
This is the Duterte administration agenda. Ano, andito ako, umuno ng mga artista na nakikisa sa paglaban ng human rights versus our dictator na meron sa Philippines. Kahit kami nasa bansa na ito ay pinaglalaban namin ng lahat. I'd like to call on all the countries that are involved in this, that are in solidarity with nakikisa ako sa lahat ng mga Pilipinas ay nagsisis ko na ang Pilipinas. Pero kung ang diktador ay nasa Pilipinas, bakit ba? At bakit si Mocha ang inilalagay? Hindi naman ako na nakikipaglaban since Marcos dictatorship. Pero nandito nga ako sa Geneva, pero maglalaban ko pa rin at tuloy-tuloy ko na ipaglalaban ito. Kahit na anong mangyari. Stop extrajudicial killings in the Philippines!
Stop extrajudicial killings
KKK. And in Bangladesh.
in Bangladesh, everywhere.
That's what I The people united will never be defeated.
United,
Will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban!
Ang tao,
Ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban!
ang tao, ang bayan, ngayon ay lumalaban.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am. It's also important that we expose what Duterte has put in place, not just in the Philippines, but all around the world. He has put in place a well-oiled, well-financed propaganda machinery which continues to spread misperceptions, lies, and fake news. In the Philippines, he is engaged in pseudo mass organization building on the ground. Here in Europe, he has established extremist nationalist groups like the DDS or diehard Duterte supporters, which continue to confuse Filipino migrant communities. And so, international solidarity has been very important in toppling the Marcos dictatorship. And that is now, hindi po matatawaran ang ating Pagkilos. Our resistance, our standing up for what is just, for the defense of human rights and countering dictatorship is most crucial at this point in time so that we can extend the human rights community here in Europe and elsewhere in the world to be able to resist Duterte's massive dictatorship. Now, friends, I'd like to call on the head of the Geneva Forum for Philippine Concerns, which is the convening organization of I Defend Europe. I'd like to call on Mr. Joseph Sisip, aka the Butcher, President Rodrigo Tatay Duterte, to say the closing remarks. Okay, mainit eh. Okay. Earlier, you have seen, no? By member of CBS. So I spoke with the police. We were able to get his camera and erase all the pictures that he took.
Very good.
He took around a dozen pictures, and we asked him to leave the premises, so he has left. So this is the first time that we have been harassed by Duterte supporters, and I think it's going to be something that we will have to face every now and then. Maraming salamat sa pagdalo nyo, and pwede pa tayo mag-photo op ng konti, then we can go.
Ang tao!
Ang bayan ngayon ay lumalaban! Ang tao, ang bayan ngayon ay lumalaban!
Dapat uni siya meron sa laban ko! Dapat uni siya meron sa laban ko!
Never again! Never again! Never again to martial law! Never again! Never again! Never again to martial law!